Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hermes Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. Oh, well, here I am on Monday. And as you know, I don't usually do Mondays, but as you guys know, well, actually, mind you, I do a Monday from time to time, don't I? But it's not part of my regular schedule. But as you guys know, so much is going on, so much is happening. It's just absolutely astonishing, and this is one of the reasons why this video is called "The Wheels Are Coming Off." Yeah, the wheels are coming off in more ways than one, not only with Trump, but just so many things, and particularly with law and order in the United States. We're going to revisit these when I get into the questions, but of course we need to speak again about Rene Good, and now we also need to speak about Alex Pretty. So for those who may not know, there's Minnesota again, and from what I can understand, what I've been able to glean, from the news, and by many accounts of people, even official news and YouTubers and stuff like that. Now, Alex Pretty was he was a nurse, an A&E nurse, wasn't he? Seems like a lovely guy. Also aged 37 as well, like Nicole Good. And he did have a firearm in his possession, but as we know, Second Amendment rights, etc. And I think in Minnesota you're allowed to carry. I think, a concealed weapon. Just in everyday life, and of course Second Amendment and all of that kind of stuff. And so he did have that on him, and he was a licensed carrier, so he was not breaking the law at all. And I think even the NRA came out and was like, that's legal. Yeah. Anyway, he was not brandishing it from accounts that I've heard at all. And there was a woman who was basically being apprehended by ICE. I think she was shoved to the ground and pepper sprayed or something like that. I mean, these guys, they're just so disgusting. It's all so disgusting. And then because he, of course, is a paramedic nurse, he wanted to assist her. And they say that he put his body between her and the ICE agents. And then I even saw this on the video. It's just astonishing. And then basically they then swarmed on him, started hitting him on the head with the butt of their gun. Then you could see he was then disarmed, yeah, because he wasn't even holding. I think he was holding his phone, wasn't he? And then they put 10 bullets into his body, executed him. And we are, like I said, you remember how I said we live in extraordinary times. And you guys, I know you guys, you watch my channel and all of that kind of stuff. But I was saying this before, wasn't I? I said we are going to see things in America that we have never ever seen before. And we're seeing rampant examples of this right now. One thing I also want to talk as well is about the Democrats. We're going to be talking about them and those 7 Democrats that voted to fund ICE. As you know, I've been dropping my breadcrumbs about the Democrats because, I've been, I'm not talking about, the good ones. I'm not talking about AOC and Bernie Sanders and the other ones that chime in from time to time to try and help out. You know who I'm talking about. And I have a name for them, and I call them the Vaseline. I call them Vaseline politicians because that's what they are. And we're going to look a little bit more at that. And I'm even going to go as far as to see what Shakespeare thinks of Chuck Schumer. Yeah. Who said he voted against whatever, but we'll get onto that later. One of the things also as well that I want to mention, but I'm going to put into one of my financial on my financial astrology channel. And thank you for everyone who watched that recent video that I did. I've not been posting as regularly on there because there's been so much that's been happening, but there's a lot of financial news as well going on. And I'm going to share some clips in regards to AI and where that's going. But something very important to understand is that there are big changes in the Japanese yen, right now. And there is a mechanism in the Japanese yen, which is called the reverse carry trade. Basically, long story short, Japan has kept its currency artificially low. Japanese investors have been using the yen because they've had like zero interest rates, and they've been buying American assets and making a profit on the difference in between. Too long to explain. I'll go more into it in detail when on my financial channel. But the reason why I mention it is because it is very, very important for the US economy as well. Japan is the biggest holder of US debt. And this is why Scott Bessent has been trying to strong arm the Japanese into kind of trying to maintain the status quo. And of course, Japan as a nation holding so many US bonds, Europe actually turns out Europe, when you put all the countries together, actually holds even more than Japan and China combined. But anyway, it is a lot of money, and this is also going to affect the US economy, which we're going to talk about as well, because you remember I said on March 26th, 2026, that's when the USA officially goes into the Rahu Ketu Dasha. And as you guys know, I've been talking about the AI bubble. You guys, and I'm preaching to the choir, but I have to keep repeating it. And I understand, look, I understand that many people use ChatGPT and all of this stuff. I understand many people use it. I know many people use it for all sorts of different things. I don't use it because I'm not an AI guy. I'm not anti-tech. I just don't put my energy into it because I know that in many of it in its current forms it's just not going to be around. So what's the point? That's the advantage, of being an astrologer. I get to look into the future. I get to look into the future. And AI is here to stay, but its form is going to change. And a lot of, frankly, the bullshit artists need to just exit stage left. And a lot of it is just greed. And there is a gigantic bubble, and that bubble will pop, guys. And this is why I give these warnings, so you guys have got fair warning of what is coming. So I'm going to share some little clips on that, and then we'll get into your questions. And there are questions, of course, about Alex Pretty as well, so we'll get a bit more into that and start pulling some tarot cards and the like. I want to say a thank you as well to all the people that purchased the portal of past, present, and future. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I understand that you guys are using it for, people have been dropping me emails and messages on my YouTube channel to let me know that you're using it for meditation, putting the pictures up, visualization. Thank you as well. I should do a quick shout out too, because you guys know I've got the coffee with hoagies, so it's just cost the price of a coffee. That's what it is. We have a group Zoom chat, and we did the inaugural one. Here's the register with all the names there. And I just want to give a little shout out to those people. It was fascinating. Oh my God, guys. And we did, like in the shows, we did a 1-card pull. But imagine doing a 1-card pull with almost 20 people. What came out of it was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So here's the list from the inaugural one. And then you can see here, and it was It sold out, actually. It was 20 people. But, you know, first of all, how are you doing as well with the snowstorm, power cuts? I know a lot of you have been having issues with electricity. So about 3 or 4 people weren't able to join, I think, because of that. Or just, you know, life just happens. But they all got the recording anyway. So I want to say a shout out to Ellen. You guys will know who you are. I won't say your last name. So Ellen, Pam, Neil, Roxanne, or Roxy, Elizabeth, Cynthia, Jacqueline, Jerry, Ileana, Ruth, and Stephen, because she was joined with her husband as well, Felice, Rose, Barbara, and Elsa. And then, of course, those of you that weren't able to join, you got the recording anyway, because, you know, you paid for your coffee, as it were. It was fascinating, and it was a real opportunity for people to kind of be with like-minded people, make new friends, and also as well let off some steam. And I thought one of the ideas would be we'd do a group meditation on that image, which I would like to do at some point. And but everything just got a flow of its own, and we ended up reading on the US Constitution, whether or not it will be changed. So fascinating stuff. So what I'm going to do is, let me just welcome some people who are here, and then we'll watch some clips, and then we'll go into your questions. So what's this? Ronai, because it's Roniy. Great, the struggle bus is overflowing, and now the wheels, are falling off. Absolutely, they are. Someone says, can't wait, Hoagie. What's this here? And then someone's here. Ooh, Mike says, Hogarth, please be kind enough to consider reading on change in the geographic boundaries of the US and or fragmentation on the US. We need to focus on nation building. Right. Okay. So you guys know this already. I've said before, haven't I? And I guess it's worth saying again. You guys know I've been saying this for a while. I have been foreshown that even though it might sound a bit ominous, but I have been saying it for a long time, maybe not quite as much recently, but I'm on record. I got the receipts. And I said the United States would effectively split up. And one of the things I said is, it would split up. And I said the blue states, I thought it would be the red states first, but I said it would probably be the blue states that will do it out of self-preservation and necessity. Many of you watching will remember me saying this, because look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. Trump is a malignant narcissist, and like I said, he is dreadful. But those around him are just diabolical, because they know he's a damn it. And I'm not making any excuses for Trump at all, but Trump is very damaged goods. We know what he is. Nothing is surprising now. Nothing. Yeah. Well, I don't say nothing. Obviously, people being murdered and executed in the street, that's surprising. That's shocking. But in terms of him as an energy, we're 10 years in now with the Duck L'Orange. What I find galling is that those who support him, who keep it going, though even the voters that make excuses for this murdering and this slaying of people, and who rationalize this stuff, and Democrats, frankly, that vote to give them their money. You know, for me, my disgust is probably even more there, because we know what Duck L'Orange is. He's being propped up. He could do none of this on his own. We know he doesn't have the intellectual chops to do it on his own. He is consistently supported, and that is the problem. So yeah, maybe we can look at that fragmentation. Hello, Lilith is here. Good afternoon, Hogarth. Good afternoon. Live chats from South Florida. Nice to see you. Patrick is here. Hi, Hoagie and all. Nice to see you. And we got Debbie here saying hi, Hogarth. Thank you so much. And then we got Anne saying, hello, Hergaf, everyone from cold, snowy Canada. I mean, I know you got this gigantic swath of cold weather. I think 12 people are dead or something. This is what I heard. It's just astonishing, isn't it? 1970s, no name says, yay, news reports say Greg Bovino is leaving Minneapolis. Maybe he can take 3,000 of his bullies along. Oh, Greg Bovino, he's that douchebag with the who wears like the overcoat, doesn't he? Like that kind of SS overcoat. And he's like, I'm not SS because I wear some overcoat from the 1920s that looks a bit, oh, you can't make this stuff up. All right, let's see here. And then JC, yes, it's just that bad. And then, hello. And then someone's saying here, Mickey Mouse is saying, hello, Hogarth and everyone. I will be overjoyed if Nazi Greg Bovino leaves my city. When he speaks and shows his teeth, he reminds me of Trilogy of Terror Doll. Yeah, that movie was crazy. Well, it looks like he may well be on the way out. Let's just see here. Tamara Payne says, hope everyone is staying safe and warm in these crazy times. The wheels have indeed flown off the bus. Absolutely. And it's about to crash down the side of a mountain. All right. So let me just get this AI bit off my chest. Oh, God, I'm like a dog with a bone, aren't I? I'm like a dog with a bone. But the reason why is because I foresee these things, and I'm very, very interested in finance, global finance, economies, impactful technologies, anything that affects the human experience. I take avid interest. I pay just as much, probably if not more, to finance, along with the astrology as well, because obviously I'm doing readings all the time, so I'm always suffused and immersed in that energy. But I look at these things because it is very important, and we are just in a time, because Pluto is in sidereal Capricorn. Let's not forget, Pluto is what? Corporations, business, hierarchical structures, and governments. This is where all of the transformation is happening, where all of the corruption is being revealed. This is why why things are as they are, because we're seeing now, aren't we, more and more of the corporate corruption, and how the billionaire class and the tech bro class and the donation class are dominating everything. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to start with someone called Sasha. And then we're going to start with, this other lady that I've featured a little bit before. But anyway, let's just do share screen. And let's make sure the sound is tab. Yes. I think is it this one? Yes, it's this one. All right. Just a few minutes of this. This is a guy called Sasha Yanshin, and I think he lives in the UK, but I just want you to hear what he's saying. And look, you can see all here down in the side, AI bubble, majority of companies report no payoff. But anyway, here we go.
Is it, Sasha? AI companies have started running out of money, and things now seem pretty desperate. According to Bloomberg, Sam Altman is trying to find the next batch of gullible investors to give him another $50 billion after burning through the money that they've collected only a few months ago, because the existing investors are now refusing to give AI companies even more money than they already have. 3 years after ChatGPT arrived, there is still no viable commercial model for LLMs. None of them are making any profits. In fact, the losses are only getting worse. And the users that use these products are refusing to pay to use AI models. So we have a bit of an issue.
You hear that? Refusing to pay. Quite rightly. People are broke, yeah?
Because not so long ago, it didn't matter that AI companies were burning hundreds of billions of dollars and buying millions of graphics cards. You see, the future is going to be amazing with AI and robots enabling sustainable abundance for all. We were told that these large language models would generate so much value that none of us would even need to work. Within just a few months, most of our jobs would become immediately redundant, and we would all have free money given to us via universal income. Remember that? Sam Altman has been talking about AGI coming imminently for the last few years, because that's required to collect money from investors. And because I am a boomer, I thought that when Sam Altman talks about AGI, he means artificial general intelligence. That's what I thought. A sort of all-powerful sentient computer that can think for itself, do all of our chores that we don't want to do all of our work, give us infinite money. It turns out AGI actually stands for ad-generated income. A year and a half ago, Sam Altman said he doesn't really want to have ads in ChatGPT.
I kind of think of ads as like a last resort for us for a business model. I would do it if it meant that was the only way to get everybody in the world like access to great services. But if we can find something that
landlords right now.
All right, let me just get a little advert came in there. So there's that. Yeah. So you can see, do you see how the BS wagon, you see how the wheels are starting to come off that? Let me just show you another clip, because this is what I've been warning about, and this is why I've been saying all of this AI stuff has been used to create dependency. What they take is our human creativity and imagination, and everyone using ChatGPT as a counselor, as an advisor, as a business planner, as a this, as a that, as a blah, 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 blah. Yeah, as an everything. And they take that, glean that information, use it to train the models, and then sell our creativity back to us in the beliefs that people are going to get rich and make profit on it, while at the same time undermining everyone's jobs that they can. So then everyone's broke. So who's going to be able to buy this stuff? While at the same time, Elon Musk goes, we're all going to be rich. Your pensions are going to become irrelevant. Working is going to become irrelevant. It's the biggest steaming pile of BS. One of the biggest cons that has ever been foisted upon humanity. I'm not saying AI doesn't have a role. It does, but it needs to be applied where it is important. It can never replace the beauty of the human spirit. And I just want you guys to, and I'm obviously, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, and I don't want people who've used AI and maybe feel dependent on AI to feel bad, but it can never replace the beauty of the human spirit. Never, ever, 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 ever. It cannot replace divinity. It cannot replace true creativity. It just cannot. It can't. It's a scam. Yeah. Anyway, let me just, so I'm so passionate about these things now, and I go on my soapbox and start beating people around the head. All right, let's just do this. I'm just going to show you another clip. I've played this lady before. I can't remember what she's called. All right, here we go.
Sam Altman just announced OpenAI is adding ads to ChatGPT, but let me show you what he said just over a year ago.
you'll see us do a lot more to make the free tier much better over time. I kind of think of ads as like a last resort for us for a business model.
Ads as a last resort. Those were his words. So why is OpenAI's last resort suddenly their new business model? The answer reveals something these tech billionaires don't want to admit.
Because they're failing. They're failing. They do not understand the rule of business, any kind of business, 101, which is this. If your outgoings are more than your income when you're a business, your business will fail. Just like an ordinary person, if we spend more than we have, and you know, this is why people use credit cards and blah, blah, blah. And again, no judgment. You know, there's a lot of debt out there and whatnot, but it's maths, business 101.
People are broke, and no amount of AI hype is going to solve that. I need to show you just how many times Sam Altman has contradicted himself.
I will disclose, just as like a personal bias, that I hate ads. I think ads were important to give the early internet a business model, but I think they do sort of somewhat fundamentally misalign a user's incentives with the company providing the service. Ads plus AI is sort of uniquely unsettling to me.
He said he hates ads, and that ads put companies out of alignment with users. I agree. So why is he adding them?
There's something I really like about the simplicity of our model. We make great AI and you pay us for it. We commit as a company to use a lot of what basically the rich people pay to give free access to the poor people. You see.
Oh, did you hear that? The rich people pay to give access to the poor people. Oh, am I not a saint? Oh, the hubris of these guys. I'm trying not to curse anyway, with their Praxis Nation and all of this other BS that they're trying to foist on everyone.
See us do that today with the ChatGPT free tier. You'll see us do a lot more to make the free tier much better over time.
The rich people will pay to give free access to the poors, and OpenAI will improve the free tier over time. So when exactly is the rich going to start paying for the poor people? Because instead of that, he just added ads to the free tier. That's his idea of improvement. Us poors get even more ads thrown at us.
Ads on a Google search are dependent on Google doing badly. Like if it was giving you the best answer, there'd be no reason ever to buy an ad above it. So you kind of you're like, that thing is not quite aligned with me. ChatGPT, maybe it gives you the best answer, maybe it doesn't, but you're paying it, or hopefully y'all are paying it. If ChatGPT were accepting payment to put a worse hotel above a better hotel, that's probably catastrophic for your relationship with ChatGPT.
And now he says he likes Instagram ads and has found stuff I like that I otherwise never would have. The same man who said putting ads into AI is uniquely unsettling, now he's praising the Instagram ad algorithm. All of these contradictions spell out one thing. OpenAI has reached last resort level. They're losing roughly 3 times more money than they earn. And unsurprisingly, just like with taxes, the rich aren't paying. OpenAI has 800 million weekly active users.
There you go. Anyway, I think I've made the point. And of course, let me go back. So you see, it's not working. It's a pile of steaming you know what. It is costing them 3 times the money to keep this charade going than what they've got coming in. And guess what? When they bring forward the new iterations, normally what happens, what's supposed to happen is when you make some innovation and stuff like that, or you mass produce something, the efficiency increases, you have your inputs, but then eventually it becomes cheaper and cheaper to run that thing. To make that thing. That's why, for example, plastic spoons and cutlery and stuff don't cost the earth. Or straws, for example, because we've figured out a way to make so many of them that they become, well, it's not free, but they become very, very cheap. But guess what's happening with these AI models? Shock, horror. As they try to improve them, because you imagine once something starts new and it's a bit clunky and people are like, not sure about this, but I'll keep playing with it because it's fun and I find it interesting and I need someone to talk to, blah, 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 whatever reason people use ChatGPT for. It then has to improve because there's competition. But as they try and improve, so they have to make it like 5%, 10% better, 5% better, what have you. That investment, just to make it 10% better, is costing them billions and billions more. And then guess what? The electricity that they have to put in goes up even more. The fresh water that they use to put in has to be even more. And they actually become even more expensive to run. And this is why you've seen Sam Altman, and you can see both of the YouTube channels made it abundantly clear. He was saying, oh, I don't want ads, it's going to be the rich that are going to pay for the poors. And now he's like, oh, I quite like ads. Do you see? Because they're desperate. We are in historic times, folks. And remember I said Pluto is in Capricorn. Capricorn deals with what? Governments. But it's not just governments. It is corporations, infrastructure. These are, if you think of NVIDIA, who makes the chips, So, hugely over leveraged. And they're all passing the money to each other backwards and forwards. So guess what's going to happen, when the money runs out? Because these guys are burning through billions billions and billions and billions as if they're Krispy Kremes. Yeah. They are burning through the money at a rate of knots that they cannot possibly maintain. And it is going to reach the point where basically they run out of money. The game will be up. They will not be able to convince the investors anymore, because already US investors and wherever else they're getting the money from are already pulling out of this stuff. And guess what happens when the money runs out? Yeah. Boom. It all starts to disappear. It's not the end of AI, as you heard me say, because guess what? Google is doing very well, and their thingy-bob Gemini, and Apple, who's not wasted a ton of money investing in this stuff, is going to use the Gemini model and pay Google $1 billion a year to rent it or whatever. You know, I'm not saying this is the end of AI. AI is still going to be used. But all this ChatGPT, all this circular finance, all of this stuff that's illegal. And unfortunately, what have they done? All of these hedge funds and pension funds and all of this stuff, they've all got intoxicated, wrapped up in this bullshit, because they've been listening to people like Elon Musk, who says, oh, you're never going to have to work again, and we'll you know, you're going to have free money. It's just rubbish that these people believe these things. And you remember how I've been saying with Saturn and Neptune, I said illusions and delusions will be destroyed. With that conjunction that started on the 29th of March 2025, and I said we are going to see things happen that we have never ever seen before, and a lot of illusions and delusions will be destroyed, because Neptune, and it's not Neptune's fault, Neptune is an incredible planet. Or it dissolves the boundary between the three-dimensional world and the realms beyond. These, you know, spirituality, great gifts of music, luxury, beauty, the higher octave of Venus. But his shadow is so dark. It is illusions, delusions, scandals, intoxication, the negative forms of, you know, drink, drugs, cults. Neptune really deals with cults. So does Jupiter as well, but Neptune especially. This is a cult. It's another cult. MAGA is a cult, and the tech bros stuff is a cult. Yeah, and just in case we weren't sure, I'll just share again. This is part of their cult ideology, which is all obviously going to blow up in their faces at some point. But this is another one here. Remember Praxis Nation? There you are. This is Praxis proposal for Atlas, California. Yeah, written by Dryden Brown, June 4th, 2025. So today, Praxis proposes Atlas, California, a defense-focused spaceport city on 3,850 acres at Vandenberg Space Force Base, located in the California coast between Los Angeles and San Francisco, which is Silicon Valley, where most of the biggest of the nutbags are based, you know, so Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, all of this stuff. Already hosts SpaceX, which of course is Elon, Blue Origin, and that's one of the big computer systems, and Relativity Space. Atlas will concentrate elite engineering talent with DOD, which is Department of Defense, isn't it? Assets to solve the defense challenges that will determine America's survival. Do you see America's survival? And it goes on to say, oh, we're here to preserve Western culture and all of this kind of Western values. It goes on to say, which basically means guys that are this color, male, on the top, and everyone else, that's what it's really about. But you see all these things, all these tech bros, where have they invested? They've all invested, haven't they? In the AI. Billions upon billions invested. They're all invested in the chips and these data centers with huge overcosts, and it's becoming more and more and more expensive. And ChatGPT is losing the race to Google's Gemini and whatnot. So what's going to happen? Yeah, all of these plans that they've got, and you know, the other place in Iceland where, you know, not Iceland, Greenland, that's why they want Greenland in the first place, to kind of build these towering, it looks like something out of Lord of the Rings. You know what Lena mentioned on the when we did our Wednesday show, she remembered off camera, and we were talking about Praxis Nation. I wasn't showing you that bit. I was showing you the Lord of the Ringsy type thingy-majig. And she said, I've just remembered. Lena's got a brother who's a civil engineer, apparently, and he specializes in cold things like permafrost and cold countries and this, that, and the other. And he spent 30 years in Russia. And he let Lena know. He said, oh, yeah, all that stuff, they won't be able to build it. Because guess what? You can't build tonnage like that on permafrost. You know why? Because when you compress ice, it melts. And I'd actually known this, but I'd actually forgotten about it. But yeah, it does. Under pressure, it begins to melt. And what happens when the permafrost melts is that it's all the mud. You get all the mud underneath. Not only that, as well, permafrost, it sounds permanent, but really it's not. We've got to remember glaciers and stuff like that. They move. There's some glaciers in terms of the glaciers, sometimes they move 2 or 3 meters per year. Now you might think 2 or 3 meters per year is oh big whoop, but you can't build a structure on that. Imagine the kind of subsidence you would get if you build one of these buildings on a glacier and it's moving at the pace of 2 or 3 meters a year, constantly shifting, going up and down and stuff like that. It will collapse and then it will get crushed by the glacier. Glaciers are one of the most powerful. They grind away mountains. It's the reason why we even have places like the Alps and the fjords, yeah, the fjords of Norway and all that stuff, because it was all capped with those gigantic ice glaciers in the Ice Age and all that stuff, and it literally ground valleys. So it's all madness. It's all madness. Anyway, sorry, I had to have my little rant there. There's over 1,000 of you who've joined me now. Thank you so much. Please be sure as well to like and subscribe and share and hype and all that jazz. And of course, if you'd like to join the my future, I think 8th of Feb sold out as well, but there's spaces for 22nd of February. So I'm going all the way up to May. Obviously, no one's going to book for May. And then, of course, you've got the portal of past, present, and future. So when you buy it, you get as a digital download. Some people have been asking for if I'm going to be sending it in the post. No. Yeah. Why? Tariffs. Yeah. Tariffs. And also as well, it will make it more expensive. It takes a long time. This way you buy it, it's yours instantly. You click on it and then you can then either print it off yourself or take it to a printer, which will be the same quality anyway if I was sending it to you guys in the post. It would take weeks to arrive, if it would arrive, and it would probably add a third to the price anyway, and all sorts of awkward logistics which just aren't worth it, you know. But of course, as a digital, high quality, is a very high resolution. When you print it off, you will get it as is. So there's that. What I should do is, I forgot to put the forgive me guys, I'm doing a little bit of admin. I forgot to put the details, the website details. What am I doing here? Oh, forgive me guys, doing admin live. Oh dear, how uncouth. Let me just do this just so that you've got the link for it, because I know many of you would be interested in that. I'm just literally doing a copy and paste right now. There we are, copy. And then I'm going to go into this current show description and then just paste it in just so that you have it. Yeah. Let's do that. Oh, some typos there. Let's get that spelling sorted out. Let's see here. Oh, what's going on? No, just do that. Do that. Come on, darling. There we are. Click save. Okay, so that's that done. Let's get back to your questions. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being so patient with me there. Be doing the admin. I should have done that before, but you have to catch up on so much news. Smarty Savvy is saying good evening and hi everyone. Hi Hoagie from South Florida. So good to see you again. And that's Donna. So nice to see you. Thank you so much. Who else do we have here? Oh, and then Ewingfield says 37 equals down to a 10, end of year cycle. Gosh, yeah. And then Debbie's saying Prison Wish, Stephen Miller, Christy Noam, among others. Indeed. Let's get into your questions. I think I've said everything I need to say about ChatGPT. God, sorry guys, I had to get that rant off the chest, because now I'm presenting the evidence though to you, isn't it? You can see Sam Altman is like, oh, now we need ads. Yeah, it's like, dude, you're running out of money. You're running out of money. They pollute the environment. They use fresh water. We as humans need fresh water. They pollute the air, toxins, noise, pollution. It's not worth it. And then they want to use it to get rid of everyone's jobs who they've not been able to outsource yet anyway. Anyway, I'll put here tech bros are sociopathic idiots. And then, yeah, and I've mentioned that. Right, have to do. Oh, and this, I've got to say this quote. It is from myself, but I've been meaning to say it for a few weeks and I kept on forgetting. And I have to repeat it on other shows. But it came to me when I woke up one morning a couple of weeks ago. And it basically goes like this. And what I was shown in my mind's eye is that Trump will go down in history as the man that divided America, but united the world. Yeah, that's what, and I really do believe that that is what is happening. Let's see here. All right, let's get into some questions. Okay, so we got Jerry. Oh, which one am I going to do first? Ukraine, Gaza, Steve. Yeah, let's do that because we're not spoken about. And then let's do that for number 3. All right, let's get some water going. All right, do let me know your thoughts in the comments, what I was sharing there about ChatGPT. And we've got to remember, it's not just ChatGPT. They're all doing it. They're all, it's called circular finance. Yeah, so NVIDIA buys the chips, and then NVIDIA makes the chips, then ChatGPT are like, we want to buy your chips, but we don't have the money, but we'll give you shares. And they do this. They're all kind of, it's like pass the parcel, but it's pretty much the same amount of money. And then they use that to increase the share price, speculation on the share price, to draw in the investors to raise cash when the intrinsic value hasn't gone up. And they're not making the revenues to support the whole model, yet they're trying to build out all these data centers. It's insanity. It's a cult. It's a bloody cult. These tech bros, building their stuff out in the outback of Los Angeles. That's why they want Greenland. Warmongering SOBs. That's what they are. Anyway. So Jerry Gelding has said, and she was in the chat last night, so shout out to Jerry, who's a proud Canadian. One more question. She says, at least in the West, are predominantly about the peed pumpkin, Trump, not hearing much news about Ukraine and Gaza. Do you have news on any positive future events unfolding either of these areas? Well, with Gaza, sadly, this board that he's put together, I think it's disintegrating a little bit because obviously it's a really bad smell. But this board of peace, yeah, that Trump has been talking about, which is an absolute joke, absolute ridiculousness. And this board of peace, yeah, is supposed to oversee the redevelopment of Gaza. So they go in, do mass genocide, yeah, with all the footage, shoot all the kids, they've killed, I think, the numbers are staggering, but I will not even be overstating this when I say it's over 300,000 children, I think, under the age of 12 or something like that. One of the numbers is 300,000 dead, unalived, let alone all the others. And they want to build hotels on it. That's what it's for. Do you remember that diabolical, Trump Gaza video? And people thought it was a joke. I said, no, it was a statement of intent. And do you remember when they were sitting back on the sun loungers and it was Trump and it was Netanyahu there on the sun loungers having a pina colada? I kid you not. Absolute psychopaths. So, but unfortunately, you know, people want the money and there is so much greed and corporate corruption in the world. Like I said, Pluto in Capricorn, so they'll probably get their wish. And Tony Blair's in there as well. Oh, that vampire. Our former prime minister. Oh, ugh. Gross, disgusting, warmongering, should be in jail. Anyway, let's look at Ukraine, because I think Gaza is, I mean, what can they do? I mean, so many of them have been massacred now, and we all know what it's about, you know, and no one's doing anything because they want the gains, yeah? Corporate greed, government greed, all of it. Diabolical. But let's see what's going on with Ukraine. Oh, and I know this is tough, guys, but and that we have to see all of this ugly, but these are the times that we're in, and this is why I've been making the warnings that I've been making, as you guys know. Oh, all right, Ukraine. Let's hope there's some nicer cards here. Oh, I might have to pull a clarifier here. All right. We look here, we've got the 2 of Wands, which of course is the merchant. Yeah, the merchant. Wow, over 1,200 of you here right now. Thanks so much for joining me, folks, and listening to my rants. Sorry, I just got to get some of this stuff off my chest because it's so diabolical, all of it, isn't it? It's absolutely. Oh, anyway. So look, this is Zelensky, yeah, looking out to the world. Here he is wanting to defend Ukraine, and he has had some choice words as well to say for Europe, who he feels has not done enough to step up. Of course, there's the critique of the United States, but this is also him looking that he has of the United States. And then, of course, this is him looking at trying to come up with a strategy. Yeah, come up with a plan, an international plan. It is being said by the Degrasse regime that they are close to a deal. But as you know, I've said in the past, any deal that you have with Degrasse Trump may as well be written on toilet paper. Yeah, it's worthless. Absolutely worthless. Is you just better off wiping your behind with it, because what does he do a few months later or a few weeks later or even a few days later? He comes back and goes, "Ah!" Yeah. So anyway, so this is and then he contradicts himself. So this is Zelensky looking for international support and help. This is him. He also went to Davos. If we look here, we have the Hanged Man, which is showing up in the obstacle position. Of course, in many ways, this is an obstacle because nothing's moving. We have a stalemate. Yeah, it's a war of attrition at this point. He's wanting things to move. He's wanting things to go forward, but there doesn't seem to be that final push that will get them over the line. Yeah, but at the same time, this is also talking about the relative inertia, particularly of the United States, because Europe has actually donated more, by the way. United States gave its own weaponry, but in terms of per head, I mean, it was actually more. But this is also the change of perspective as well. Let's not forget that. The Hanged Man is also a change of perspective, but as Lena interprets in her card, is also the willing sacrifice. It could be that maybe Zelensky may sacrifice himself if it were guaranteed for protections. That's how I'm interpreting that. Yeah, he's going around to gather global support for Ukraine, and I think he's prepared to sacrifice himself. There's also the financial deals as well, yeah, because let's not forget, those that get to rebuild Ukraine, Yeah, and Russia, and this is one of the main mechanisms for war as well. Go in like a bulldozer, destroy it all, and then you make money twice. Yeah, on the weapons deals, sales, they pocket the money, and then you get the real estate contracts again. This is what these money men. This is how they think about these things. As you know, the king of Pentacles, I often refer to as the donor class. This is the very wealthy class, the billionaires. The money movers and shakers. Davos, that kind of thing. However, he may have a big push up his sleeve. Here we see we've got the Knight of Swords, and this is one of the fastest cards in the deck, but it is an aggressive card. It's about taking action, sometimes even impulsive action. We are currently in winter, of course, which makes the war effort that much more difficult, although it is being fought mainly now with drones. On the soldier front, of course, both sides are still making losses. So this could suggest that there may be a new offensive in the spring or something unexpected. Zelensky still has a few tricks up his sleeve. However, if we look here, we get the 8 of Cups, which is a card of walking away, abandoning something, being like, I can't do this anymore. So who is it that walks away? Is it Europe that walks away? I'm not so sure. Or is it Zelensky? Yeah. And when I think of this, when I think of potentially of the sacrifice and the walking away, that's kind of like how I'm seeing that. So you heard it here, folks. So at the moment it is 26th of January 2026, and it is 23:54. And I'm saying, based on those cards, that Zelensky may be prepared to sacrifice himself for peace. But they're probably working on the money and the contracts, and he wants the assurances. I think that's one of the main sticking points. It's probably on that. Yeah, so I hope that was helpful for you. I wasn't expecting it to go that way, but there you are. All right, let's dive into, there's only 3 questions tonight, which I don't mind at all, because even getting, by the time I finish my rants and updated on the news and this, that, and the other, normally I can only do 3 or 4 questions anyway. So this is Jerry Gelding again. And she says, hello, Hogarth. Despite the latest execution by ICE, which I spoke about at the top of the show, which of course is Alex Pretty, 7 Dems voted with the GOP to provide additional funding to this Gestapo. And I wish that what I've just was just said there was not true, but it is. The corruption at all levels of government is revolting. What do the cards / astrology show about the future of existing parties in the US? Will new parties or a whole new system emerge? All right, so here we go. Let me just do a quick screen share again, because as you know, when you see me on the Mondays and the Fridays, we can do a bit more astrology together. And I know I'm going over the ground, but I've got so many new subscribers that it's important to sometimes repeat these things, because they wouldn't have seen it. Yeah. And thank you to all the new subscribers, by the way. Anyway, if we look here, this is actually oh my God. I'm glad I've accidentally put this up, because I forgot that I did it. This is the chart of the UK, which is the Act of Union between England and Scotland. And that's when basically we became known as Great Britain. Then we had the other, and this was 1707. Then you got the one from 1801, which included Northern Ireland. This one, though, I think is probably the most sensitive and reliable chart for the UK. So us in the UK, we got a lot of changes coming up as well, because look at all of these planets here in sidereal Aries: Neptune, Moon, Rahu, Sun, Mercury. So we in the UK are also going to go through some massive changes, and I think we're probably going to go back into the EU. I don't think we're going to have the euro, but we're going to do something when we're kind of like, we're back trading and all of this kind of stuff. And that could be one of the positives of this lunacy with Duck Larange, which is that he's just waking people up. Because so much of Brexit was predicated on America and the special relationship. Yeah. A lot of the Brexiteers were banking on that. Now look, been thrown in the face, and then of course the slap round the chops as well with the insults that he gave to the British soldiers and people from Europe, saying that, oh, we stood on the back lines and didn't help out in Afghanistan. Oh, disgusting. It's gone down like a cold cup of sick over here in the UK. I know this doesn't apply to you, but people are disgusted with what Trump said. And that is a big deal, because UK is quite a military nation. If we look here, when we look at this chart, look at this, these planets here in Aries. Aries is a sign of war, yeah, but pioneering as well. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, aren't I? If we go down here where it says TR, this is where the planets are right now. And here is Pluto, yep, up in Capricorn. But look at this big stellium that's here as well. Mars is here, Sun is still here, Mercury is here, Venus is here. A few days ago, if we look at where the moon is currently now in Aries, that was back in sidereal Capricorn. Capricorn is what? Corporations, government, business, even thing you could even say is kind of similar to stock market as well, because it's the infrastructure of government. Whenever you get big stelliums like this, it means huge activation. This is all of this stuff with Rene Good, Minnesota, Davos, you know, this aggression, these shootings, Mars, yeah, for the USA, because it's a Sagittarius rising. This is happening in the second house, which deals with what? The values, money, wealth, finance, all of these things, yeah. And now we're seeing that, you know, ChatGPT and all of that lot, they can't quite get their what together, their SHIT together, because, you know, they're not making money. Anyway, so let's take a look at this. What I can't show about the future of existing parties in the whole system. Will a new system emerge? Well, there needs to be something new, because apart from a few shining stars in the Democrats, they are not stepping up. They're not, because they're bought. Yeah, they're bought by the corporations. That Pluto in Capricorn, man, that corruption, that seedy underbelly. I mean, how could they vote for this? In terms of, and let me read out the names. These are the Dems these are the Dems that voted with the GOP to preserve the funding of ICE. Don Davis of North Carolina, Tom Suozzi of New York, Henry Cuellar of Texas, Vicente Gonzalez of Texas, Laura Gillen of New York, Margie, Glusenkamp Perez of Washington, and Jared Golden of Maine. Yeah, they should hang their heads in shame. For me, it's like they're just shills. It's like, that's why I call them the Vaseline politicians. They've got them, like the corporations have bought off all sides. That's why this is being allowed to go ahead. Oh, it just infuriates me. I'm disgusted. Anyway, future of existing parties in the will new parties and a new system emerge? There we are. Will a new system emerge? Oh, so infuriating, isn't it, guys, to just see this stuff going on. And it's so easy to do the right thing, and they refuse because they want it. They want it. Let's see. Let's see what new things will be emerging. Hopefully we'll see cards of growth. Things like Ace of Wands, ideally we'd like to see. Maybe even a bit of Six of Cups. We might see the Tower. Death would be actually a good card, because I mean the old system will be changing. But let's see. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Oh, All right, here we go. So if we look here, we get the 8 of Pentacles, which is about what? Hard work, hard graft, efforts, studiousness. Yeah. So what this says to me, yes, there will be some attempts to build something new, fix something. Yeah. Build something new, fix something, hard work, studiousness. However, in the obstacle position, we get the what's that? The 3 of Swords. Of course, it's the 3 of Swords. We get the 3 of Swords, which can talk about what? Betrayal, heartbreak. Yeah. This is a card of just feeling betrayed. I think this is the electorate broadly, especially those that are non-MAGA. Let's put it that way. They feel betrayed, and I think they feel betrayed by the way those 7 Democrats voted as well. Yeah. There's that. If we look here. Here we have the wealthy merchant divvying out the money. Unfortunately, the money's not going to be out of politics yet. No. There's too many politicians that are happy to beg, yeah, to receive the money from the wealthy benefactors or, you know, APAC or arms companies or whatever, whoever's dangling that cash in front of them. Yeah. This, for me, in many ways, is the actual political system. And this is why the money needs to be removed. The big money needs to be removed. I think campaigns should be run on what you can raise from the public. Look, America is a continent. It's a big country. Planes aren't cheap. You know, you can't run a campaign on Amtrak, or mind you, I wouldn't mind giving that a go because I do love a bit of Amtrak. You know, and the kind of, but it's the donor class. It's just American politics just does not seem to be able to detach itself from the money. If we look here, we do see, if we look here, we got the King of Cups, which, as many of you know, is one of my cards for democracy itself as a concept and part of the divine masculine. And then when we look here, we get the Page of Pentacles. So again, pages are all about messages. And this, of course, can be talking about messages around money. This could also be, could it be that the Democrats will start talking about, I don't know, government shutdown or whatever other hoo-ha, or they're going to be talking about, I mean, I think this is, for me, I think this is the funding, yeah, for ICE, yeah, that disappointment, that heartbreak. But they're saying, oh, maybe we should give them a little bit less money then. Maybe, should it be a little bit less money? Yeah, we'll have to see. But things will change, but they have to move the money out of politics. This card is what I'm focused on a bit more here. Yeah, the 8 of Pentacles. Something new has to be built. But you can see here, it's also to do with the money as well, unfortunately. Yeah. We need to get these politicians off the money. It's the only way. And that's the way things will move forwards. All right, let's take a look. So this is coming from Angeli. This is a bit of a dark one, actually. She says, hello, Hergy. Thank you so much for your patience. I had a vision that Stephen Miller, would be unalived. Ooh. What do the cards astrology say? Any truth to this? And I put here, I don't like to read on predicting death, as you guys know, and assassinations, because they do not solve things, but I'll check the energy around him. So let's just, actually, let me just see what Shakespeare thinks of Chuck Schumer. Well, they call him on iHipNews, they call him Chuckles, don't they? He's allowed a lot of this to happen, to be honest. I mean, so many. Let's just see. These all come out before. Let's just see. Look at this. Look at this. This is what the Bard thinks. Chuck Schumer. This is from Henry IV, part 1. A fellow of no mark nor likelihood. Wow. And then from The Taming of the Shrew, the bard says, my tongue will tell the anger of my heart. That's all I have to say on that. The bard, I think, has spoken for a lot of us. I couldn't have put it better myself. All right, Stephen Miller. I'm not going to read on him being unalived because it's not a good energy to get into. And I mean, whenever his time to exit stage left is his time to exit stage left. As you know, I've said everything that I wanted to say about Stephen Miller. If you go to my membership, so obviously when you subscribe, it's free. So remember that subscription is free. But in my membership, I did my videos on Stephen Miller. And I looked into his chart and I said, he's Goebbels reincarnated. They have a lot in common. They even look similar. It's spooky. So let's see what the energy is around Stephen Miller. As evil as he is, I don't like to kind of, yes, he's going to be unalived and this person's going to blah, because it's you don't want to be aligning yourself too much with that energy. But as you know, when I make my predictions, I look and see, you know, what's going on. Obviously, everyone wants to know when Trump is going to exit stage left, and I've done videos on that. So Stephen Miller, what's going on with him? Oh, crikey, look at the time. Stephen Miller. Oh, even just to read on him, his energy is just, he's a reptile, you know. Like a reptilian, almost insect kind of, he's just, yeah, that's the vibe I get from him. Yeah, when I close my eyes, like, it's like, you know, like when you hear about these, you know, you've got all sorts of different types of extraterrestrials, but you know, when you hear about some of it, it's like, he's a Draco, that's what he is. It's just coming to mind. When I close my mind's eye, that's what I see. He's like a draconid. He's one of them, one of the shady ones. Apparently there's some nice reptile extraterrestrials or whatever, but he's not. That's what I'm being shown. I'm being shown a Draco. That's what he is in terms of his soul energy. Very interesting. I have to put a clarifier on that. What's that legacy that he's trying to build? He's got a lot of help. Let's just put it that way. Clarification on that Ten of Swords. How interesting. Got to pull another one. Ah! All right. Okay, it's all clear. Here. Ironically, yeah, we get, look what comes back. Do you remember when I said whenever cards come back, it's like an underlining or a period or an exclamation mark? Here we have the King of Cups return again. So again, this is talking about the divine masculine, which we know he does not have. But this is talking about democracy, yeah? So this is saying in his mind, what's the energy around him? He's thinking about democracy. He's thinking about the midterms. Look at this. Two of Cups, which is a card of what? Marriage. Not only marriage, but about making deals. This can also talk about his wife, but he has contracts. He's made deals with people in regards to the voting, yeah? Midterms, elections. We look here, we get the Two of Wands also returns again, which shows me that he's getting international help. Who knows where from? Could be a bit of Putinska in there. Could be, could be a bit of Israel in there. Could be, well, of course. Would have to be, wouldn't it? APAC and all, with everything that's going on in Gaza, yeah? So here he is looking internationally. He has made international contracts, support, potentially even help to potentially even maybe even try and subvert the bloody midterms. That's how I'm seeing it. He is chomping at the bit. Knight of Wands, yeah? Rearing to go, wanting to get out there. But this is also a card of impulsiveness, of immaturity, of sometimes this card can be a bit reckless. Yes, you may overdo it. In regards to what? 10 of Pentacles, which of course is the card I associate with the GOP, but it's also about trying to establish a legacy, institutions, long-term things. So I pulled some clarifiers. What's that about? And then I'll get 2 major arcana here. We get the Strength card. So he is looking to use his resources. This is him trying to manifest some inner dream, something he's probably wanted since childhood. And then what could that thing be? The Emperor. Yeah, the Emperor says it all, which and of course in his instances would be the toxic version of masculinity. This is about absolute control, rules, regulations. The Emperor is what? Implacable. This is what I think is going on with Marco Rubio. I've mentioned already, but here I can see it in Stephen Miller as well. Trump is just a tool so that either one of them can become president. That's what they want. And I would think once Duclarange just exits stage left, either in exile or because his body's just given out or he's impeached or what have you, Stephen Miller, you can see here, these are his ambitions. Yeah, he wants to do things in the elections. He wants to get help. Like I said, 2 of Cups. He's looking for international assistance. He's rearing and ready to go. And he's one of the main ideas behind all of this ICE and all of this stuff, trying to establish this legacy here. And he's using his strength and his fortitude, yeah, because he wants to be emperor or to facilitate the emperor. Dreadful. These people are ghouls, aren't they? Let me just pull some. Oh, look at that. Actually, I probably should end it there, shouldn't I? We're actually 11 minutes past this. Look at that. It's 1, 1, 1, 3 ones. I'm going to leave it there. But guys, keep putting one foot in front of the other. We'll be back on Wednesdays. And then I'm going to try and start getting in more guests again. But I need to email around and do all of that kind of stuff. These are wild times, but keep going, guys, keep going. And for those that are joining me in the classes as well, or the group chats, much, much appreciated. So it's all good. And thank you as well for the donation. And I've got a dash. I'm going to leave it there, but big love, everyone.